Hello, everybody. Today we have a guest, the attorney Aileen Walborsky. She's an immigration attorney and she has been practicing law for almost 30 years. And she's
Yes,
fearless advocate for immigration reform. Welcome. Almost 30 years, Aileen.
almost 30 years, and I'm only 30 years old. Yes, it's a joke.
Wow. So tell me a little bit about first. Thank you so much for saying yes. I know you have a very busy schedule and you have a lot of going on right now. But tell us a little bit about your journey as a professional, as an attorney. Where did it start?
Okay, I was born in Mexico City, Aileen Walborsky. My father was the son of Jewish immigrants that came to the United States, escaping the Holocaust. My mother, he went to Latin America to work for an American company. He met my mother in Venezuela, and then they settled in Mexico City, where I was born and raised. So my own personal life is one of the history of immigration, the movements of people, right? That's the worldview I was brought up in. I had three passports. My mother, like I said, is Venezuelan. My father's American. I grew up in Mexico City. Of course, I
Wow.
feel Mexican, even though
Yes.
my last name is Walborsky. I'm a Latina Jew. People are not aware there are Jewish communities in Latin America, and we are part of the societies of Latin America. So when I was 17 years old, because my father was an American, I was able to come to the United States to study, and I went to Brandeis University, where I started. I really didn't know what I wanted to do then. I thought maybe I would go in the educational field. I was not very strong on math, so I started. One of my minors was legal studies, and I started working with the Salvadorian community that was escaping the civil war in El Salvador in the 1980s. And I had the
Okay.
most amazing mentor, Professor Lawrence Fuchs, who actually was the head of the Select Commission for Immigration Reform in Congress. He was actually the creator of the Peace Corps. So I couldn't have a better mentor. I took a course on immigration. I wrote my thesis under his mentorship on the plight of Salvadorian immigrants and how the law does not protect them. The thesis that I wrote became what is now known as temporary protective status because, like I said, he was head of the Select Commission of Immigration Reform. So that's where my passion for immigration law and policy started. And thereafter, I decided to go to law school to really dedicate myself to the field of immigration law, particularly the fight for human rights and civil rights that is part of my field.
So you had a transition when coming to the United States that you knew the language already, that you were able to navigate, or you had to start from scratch when you came to
Well,
the United States?
yes, even though my father was American, he was raised in the Bronx, New York, speaking only Yiddish. My grandparents spoke Yiddish,
Uh-huh.
but my father spoke to me in Spanish. And I did go, so my first language was Spanish. Nací en México, soy mexicana, but
Uh-huh.
I went to the American school. So from kindergarten on, I went to a bilingual school. And there so I came to the United States with knowledge of English of and I
Okay.
you know that I went to Brandeis, which was it's a little harder because of course English was my second language, even though I went to a
Mm-hmm.
bilingual school. So
Mm-hmm.
law school was not easy for me for that same reason, because I was competing with students where English was their first language. But nonetheless, I made it through Boston College Law School. After I
Wow.
finished Brandeis University, I went to Boston College Law School. And it was a humbling experience because law school, you are with students that are the best of their class from all over the country, of course, English speakers. So, like I said, it was a struggle, but I made it through.
And you decided immigration caught your heart. It was like love at first sight when you saw what's going on in the country, what it is that it connected with you immediately as a Latina and as a professional. You said, I need to do this. It's not only, okay, I'm going to have a profession, I'm going to have a career, but there's a mission in your heart.
The mission in my heart really started growing up in Mexico City. Like I said, I'm the daughter of a first generation American whose family all perished in the Holocaust, except my grandparents and a few others that were able to leave. So I grew up in Mexico City my first 7 years, kind of in a Jewish enclave in Polanco. So I was bombarded with the grandparents of my friends with numbers in their arms and the stories of my father. Plus, living in Mexico City, I was bombarded always by the extreme poverty I saw. I saw a lot of
Yeah.
richness. I was lucky to live in a situation where I was able to go to a private school. But since very young, I wanted to do something to help people. And maybe that's why I cannot also remain silent when I see an injustice. So when I
Mhm.
went to Brandeis and I started working, for legal services in Boston with the Salvadoran community, I told my professor I was interested in that field. He told me maybe I should write my thesis on the situation of Salvadorians because Spanish is my first language. I found that I had a gift because I speak Spanish. I could connect with people from Spanish speaking
Mhm.
countries. So that's when basically I'm really lucky because I went to law school and my career is my passion. And that's when
Exactly.
I talk to young people, and I hope those that are here that hear me, I think the key to life, a key to success, if you can do what you love, whatever it is, you live a purpose filled life. But that's how my passion for immigration law started.
Yes, you've seen the community. I mean, you've been working in for 30, almost 30 years in immigration. You've seen the growth of the community, the evolvement of the community, and what is the future. There's a lot to do when it comes to the first generation, even the second generation, to embrace who we are
Yeah.
as a Latinos in the United States. We are the biggest minority in the United States right now, but we are not. I will say that we are not in leadership when it comes to government, when it comes to all positions of power, not only in government, but also corporate America. And there's work to be done, and there's an opportunity. Of course, we're going to have challenges, but you as a professional, what do you see for the future, for the next generation of Latinos?
I see the Latinos growing in leadership power here. I have witnessed Guatemalan Mayans. I work a lot with the indigenous of Latin America, the ones that nobody really talks about. We have a lot of indigenous from Mexico too.
Yes.
Mayans that Spanish is not even their first language. And that's why I love this country because I see people that come with nothing, but we have good public schools. And if people really want to make it, they can make it. I have seen so many Guatemalan Mayans that I've had the honor to help come from the most remote villages from extreme poverty, and now they own their own landscaping businesses or their little stores in Lake Worth. And I see their kids now, making it. So I feel that there's much hope, but the key is, as you very well know, education. We have to really take the education of our children seriously. It's important for immigrant parents. I know for them, many times it's difficult to get involved with a school, especially people like the Mayans that are Spanish may not be their first language, but it's important to get involved with the school of your children and the education of your children and push them to continue on to high school. And we have good colleges here if people cannot afford to go to, let's say, college. We have, Palm Beach State College that offers a lot of tuition assistance to immigrant kids and even kids of that may be undocumented.
Well, thank you so much for being with us today. It's a pleasure to meet you. I met you a couple months ago, and I really saw your journey, and it was so powerful, your message the day that I met you. And I just feel like very proud to see a Latina embracing the culture and also having a mission in her heart to the next generation of Latinos. So thank you so much.
Thank you for what you do. Thank you. Thank you very much.